What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to bring you a review of the Corsair 280X. This is one of their more high performance, they call it a high performance mATX RGB cases. It's also temper paneled, which you can see here at the front, but you also have temper panel on the side and the top. So we'll get into a little info about this case, kind of why I chose it, and then I will give you a review of it and kind of a walk around and how things went. With the build. I've owned this case for about a year. I did my own build in this. When you purchase it, you get it with the 220mm RGB fans. It does come with an IQ controller, which basically what that means, you download Corsair software and you can control these fans. So you can actually turn them off. So if you're not a fan of the fans being RGB all the time, or you want to do a blue color, or you just want them off altogether, you do have the option to do that if you spring for this case. It's a dual chamber case, so it's a rather large, at least in my opinion, when it comes to an mATX case. Again, this will only fit mATX or smaller motherboards. X motherboard or a large motherboard, it will not fit in here. It has to be the mATX motherboard or smaller. But it is a dual chamber case, so it is a little larger, I think. And basically what that means is it breaks the case down into two chambers. One has all your like GPU, motherboard, CPU, all the fun stuff, and then the other side kind of hides all your messy stuff, your power supply, all your cables for your storage drives, all your controllers are kind of hidden over there, which I will get into the walk around with this case. It does come with dust filters on the right here, the bottom, and the top and the front, which I will get into. I'll kind of go through my dislikes and likes about it and how the build was in it, but overall Corsair cases are very easy to build in. That's one reason why I like them, is that their build quality is fairly top-notch and they're easy to build in. They make it easy for you to assemble your PC in there. So the retail on this case is $159. You can find it on sale at times. I paid $119 for it at Micro Center when it was on sale, but generally it stays at that $159 price point, and lately it's been staying at that more frequently because of everything going on. People are at home, they're using their computers more, they're building more computers. So with that said, let's jump in, let's get in the case and kind of give you a walk around, kind of go through some of my likes and dislikes. So now we'll go around and get an overview of the case, some things I like, dislike. This is the front of the case, it's got your Corsair logo. Again, the case is about a year old. The white stayed white. I haven't had any issues with fading or anything with the paint. This is your temper panel glass, which is nice, but it does not remove, so there's no way to actually remove it, which is kind of a bummer because there is a dust filter in there, and it's near impossible to actually clean. Basically what I do is I just blow condensed air in there and hopefully it disperses the dust out. But your front fans will get dusty, so you will have to find a way to clean that. Again, 220mm RGB fans, which can be removed if you wanted to add something else. Then you have your vents here on the side to get some air in, a little vent here at the top. There's not a whole lot of spacing in there, so it does not bring in a lot of air from the front, which is kind of a bummer, but I haven't had any issues with cooling. But if you had more beefy components on the inside, I could see how that would be a problem. So looking at the side here, this is where your tempered glass is at. I'm not going to take this off just for time purposes, but it comes off with these 4 screws. There is rubber grommets in there, which is nice, but these screws are not captive, so they will come off. So you kind of got to be careful there because they do fall out fairly easily when you're removing them. Again, rubber grommets, no issues with the scratching. It seems to not pick up a lot of fingerprints. As you can see, I've been touching it a decent amount, and there's not a whole lot of fingerprints on it. It feels well made. It is glass, so if you drop it, it will break. So looking at the back here, again, nothing too special. You do have a little cage here where your hard drives are at. This is not hot swappable, so you do have to remove the cables before you remove them, but makes it fairly easy for removing and installing hard drives. Power supplies down here, motherboard backplate, 4 PCI slots, which is pretty standard for your mATX cases. You do have some ventilation here on the back. You cannot mount a fan back here, so there's no mounting slots for a fan, but you do have some ventilation for a rear exhaust, passive air. You're not going to get anything aggressive there because you can't mount a fan. And then looking at your second chamber here, you do have a nice magnetic dust filter, which is nice. Corsair is good at doing that, providing you with dust filters. You can put a fan here on this side if you needed to. There is mounts for, looks like 120 and 140 millimeter fan. I don't have anything on here because I don't really have anything in there that needs cooled. And then taking this panel off is fairly easy. Just have 2 screws. And this is one thing I really like about Corsair cases, is that this allows you to basically hide all your components. So this is what I like about the dual chamber, is that it's easy to hide stuff. Again, you got your power supply here, all your cables, 2 hard drive mounts. So if you need more storage, you have 2 hard drive mounts, and you have 3 mounts for SSDs. I do believe you can remove this. There's screws to remove this, or it pops out. Yeah, it will look like you can pop this out if you wanted, but you can do 3 standard SSDs if you want to. Your IQ controller is here in the front for your RGB fans, for the software to control those. Nice rubber grommets for installing things and running your cables. Again, I really like the dual chamber design because you can just hide all this stuff and just forget about it. No one has to see it. And that's it for that. So overall, I've really enjoyed this case. It's been easy to build in, easy to clean. It's got nice dust filters all throughout. This top does actually remove also, so you can remove the top here to take the dust filter out and clean it. So this is a shot of the top. Again, you can mount 120 or 140 millimeter fans. These are 240 millimeter Corsair RGB fans, same as the ones in the front, but just a little bigger. This is your top panel, 2 USB-C, microphone, headphone, reset, power. That's pretty standard stuff. You do have tempered glass here, which I've removed for the top. It does come with these rubber grommets, which you can see here. Actually, there's one right here that you can see, which help with any type of noise canceling or vibrations. There's no noise with this case. I haven't had any issues with that, and it does come with the dust filter, magnetic dust filter, that just sits on the top like so. If I can get that in here. And that's it, and the timber glass just goes on top, which is nice. I will mention that these little rubber grommet things do fall off fairly easily when you're removing them, so be careful. For example, there's one actually buried down in there that we have to dig out because it fell off when I was removing it. But it is nice you can remove that. I do not know why they had it to where you can remove that one, but you are not able to remove the front one, which I believe the front gets way dustier than the rear, so I'm not really sure why there's no way to remove that, which kind of stinks. I'm not going to take you through the bottom here, but it does have a dust filter here at the bottom, which is fairly easy to come out. Again, magnetic. You can almost take it out without removing the case or having to pick it up too much. But that's it. That's a general walk around of the case. Overall, really happy with the construction of it, the design. A few downfalls is that, again, this is the only way you're getting airflow in the front is through those little vents there and the vent on the top. Do wish you were able to remove that to clean it because it is a pain to clean. But overall, I don't have any issues. Again, there's your rear exhaust. I don't understand why they didn't make it to where you could mount a fan there, maybe even a 90 millimeter or something a little smaller. It would be nice to mount something there, but again, that would probably make the case a little bit bigger, which they're not wanting to do. So you do have more cutouts on the bottom. That's overall it, guys. That is a general walk around of the case. So now that we've done a walk around of the case, I've kind of given you an overview of the Corsair 280X, some of my likes, dislikes. I want to get conclusion time, and that is overall I'm really happy with this case. I've had it for about a year. It's not without its downfalls. Every case has its plus and minuses, but I think this has a lot more pluses than it does minuses. A few things I really like about it. I like the design of it. I like the white. The white's held up over time, which in my other previous cheaper cases has not always been true. I like the dual chamber design to where I can hide all my cables, all the stuff I don't want people to see. It's very easy to hide, and you don't have to spend a lot of time kind of playing around with the build of the system. You can build in it very quickly and hide those cables with a little ease. I actually like the RGB lights, and that has customizability. You can turn them on, turn them off. You can do RGB. You can do a different color if you just wanted a white or a blue. There's all kinds of different varieties there, so I do like the customizability of that. Sometimes I leave the lights on, sometimes I turn them off, sometimes I do different colors. I just like that it adds a little bit of character to your computer room, which mine's pretty bare, it's pretty white, so I did like that. I like the tempered glass design. Again, I would not get this case if I didn't. The only negative with the tempered glass is that I'm pretty sure the front tempered glass is actually plastic, and there's no way to remove it, so you can't remove it and clean that front dust filter, which I'm not really sure why they did that, why they didn't have an option to be able to take that out fairly easily. There's workarounds, you can take the fans out and blow it out from there, but it's not the easiest thing to get into. No rear exhaust fan, which is kind of a bummer. I would like to see that, especially if you're rocking more high-end components. I just have a 6-core i5 in here, which does not emit a lot of heat. I do have a 980 Ti, which is a pretty warm graphics card, but I could see if you had beefier components that you may have some issues with cooling. Personally, I don't. My system runs fairly cool, quiet, no issues there. That's another thing to mention, is that this case is very quiet. It has a lot of sound deadening, especially in the rubber grommets, which don't allow for any vibration. They kind of pick up some of that, so you don't have to worry about that. The case is very well built. I think this will probably hold up well over time. You could probably keep it for 10 years. And if you took care of it, it would look the same way you did when it was new. And that's really it. I do kind of wish it came with more fans, or maybe 140 millimeter fans in the front and maybe 2 fans at the top. There's no way these fans cost that much to make. That would have been nice for the $159 price point. I really think it should have came with 4 fans. But again, it comes with the front 2 and the iQ controller, which is a plus, and the Corsair software for the iQ controller is free. So you do have to take that into account. But if you're going to buy the system right now, you're going to have to get at least 2 more fans, I would think, for it to get adequate cooling. So you're going to be paying more than $159 down the line. Another negative is that the bottom, there's nowhere you can mount fans. Yes, you can mount fans, but it's not really feasible if you want to plug in any SATA drives, because there's no room unless you got a fairly small, low-profile fan. But overall, extremely happy with the purchase. I would try to find it on sale, but I still think it's even worth the $159 price point. If you do not want the RGB lights, get the one without. You can save some money there, because they do sell this without the RGB option. So if you're not wanting that, get it without. So that's my overall final thoughts. Is this case for everyone? No. Is it for you? Maybe. That's for you to decide. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and like below, and throw any comments down there. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Hope you guys have a rest of the week, good week, and I will see you guys next time.